Welcome back to Rome Boys. Today we are still in our new studio
Loving it.
and enjoying
Same shirts
it.
as the last episode.
That's
Everything.
right. We're making ourselves at home.
Yeah.
We are at home.
Yeah.
This is awesome. We're super excited to still be here. And we're going to talk
Maybe
about
forever, huh?
Who knows? Yes. Who knows? If we ever move to a different location, we're going to take the walls off.
Yeah.
We're just going to take them with us. It's all
Yeah,
going to be
this
the
is
same.
all fake. We just slide
Yeah.
it back and then we slide in the new set.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Never know where we're going to be
Yeah.
or what it's going to look like. But today, we're going to talk about Chris.
Oh, talk about me. People do it all the time. It's terrible.
All of a sudden, I just imagine this big target.
Yeah.
You just start
Chris,
shooting stuff at
All
you.
the jobs you've ever had as quick as you possibly can, like the Animaniacs, they go do.
Yeah.
So list all your jobs, go. No, you don't have to go fast, but
If I'll just
Every
qualify it
job
to
you can
shorten it a
think of.
little bit. The first job I ever remember having, and I got paid to do it, was build fence. And
don't
so
count here, okay?
yeah, and it was rough. Fence pliers, wooden
Oh, yeah.
posts. By hand post hole. And I was a little guy, so yeah,
I can relate.
it hurts. Yeah, I pinched myself so many times with
Oh,
those
yeah.
pliers, and yeah.
You still
So-
feel it.
Yeah. Then really just to kind of fast forward, because I was a little guy at that time, but first W-2 job when I was 14 years old, I lived with my aunt and uncle, and I got a worker's permit from the state because I was, didn't know who my dad was and an impoverished child. So the state granted me the ability to work even though I was in school because they put a cap on it. And I was able to work to provide for myself. So Bo's Barbecue,
Okay.
Tom and Mary Tilton, wonderful people.
I
And
still remember who he worked for.
oh man, yeah.
Yeah,
Tom
I
passed
could do
away, and I reached out to him a few times because I told him what he instilled in me at 14 years old. I carry into being my own business owner now. And because he was always such a good boss, and he owned the business, and he inherited it from his family lineage, and it was Bo's Barbecue and Steakhouse, and I worked in the pits, in the barbecue pits, and I always said it was the pits.
Yeah, it was the pits.
Yeah, so I just, anyways, I learned barbecue, and I did it for 4 years, and
You like your Tabasco still? And
yes, right, seasoning,
sauce,
Tabasco,
yeah.
hot sauce, all of it, and I would go home from work, and
What chicken?
our dog would eat the shoelaces off of my shoes because barbecue sauce and everything. So I just remember always having to buy shoelaces all the time.
Oh my
Like,
goodness, of all things.
yeah. So,
That's funny.
yeah. So, but I walked to work for, I guess, 3 years and still, until I was able to save up my money for a vehicle. And I had a 1988 Chevy S10 pickup. It had a Mako paint job. It was a $150 paint job where they basically just run it through a car wash with white paint,
Yeah. Good enough.
And yeah,
Spray
and
cans
so,
from Walmart. Yeah.
yeah, learned how to. It was a stick shift, and anyways, so then I was off to the races, I guess you could say, and worked at Domino's Pizza from there.
Delivering?
I did it all. Yeah,
Okay.
cooked, delivered, worked the register. I was the fastest at folding boxes, and that's a real competition. Yeah, so creating the pizza boxes, Anyways,
I like Domino's. It's good
Yeah,
pizza.
good.
shucks, I'm going way too slow. There's so many memories at each location, but met Tom Monahan, the founder of Domino's Pizza,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And so he's
worked for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he said, "Oh, you worked for Domino's. Well, that's why you're where you're at today."
You're welcome.
87 years old, and he's still got more wit than I ever will. Yeah, ran into him on an island, Jamaica, and like, Tom Monahan,
Yeah.
how's it going?
Yeah.
So, yeah, golly, built gas stations. Well, at least the canopies that
didn't
go
know
over
that
them.
one.
That was a summer job, and I did it 2 summers, and I made $100 a day, and it was amazing.
That's good.
Worked 6 days a
good
week.
money.
Yeah, yeah, for an 18-year-old kid, it's
That's
pretty
good
awesome.
money.
Number 5.
Gosh,
Oh, you're
okay.
counting up.
Yeah, I worked at the Buckle in the mall in Austin. Started a window washing company in Austin called Window Wizards of Austin. Made $70,000 in 3.5 months.
Dang.
Yeah,
Entrepreneur early
yeah.
on.
My partner there, it didn't work out. He was addicted to prescription drugs, and so the money dried up. I moved back to Angleton, which is where I graduated high school, and I think that's when I worked at Domino's. So maybe out of sequence here, but
Yeah, doesn't matter. Go.
yeah. So, man. Then I was I was a waiter at Cafe Laredo in Lake Jackson. It's not there anymore. I became a shift manager. I was the only white guy that worked there that could speak fluent Spanish, and so I became a shift manager because everybody in the kitchen spoke Spanish. But I spoke fluent Spanish, and so it was, I did well. Thursday night, dollar margaritas. All my friends tried to come in and drink underage, and so
Sure.
that was always the worst day of the week. Like, guys, come on, because
You're going to give me trouble here. Come
oh
on.
yeah. And let's see. From there, I moved to College Station. I worked at Red Lobster with the twins from Dude Perfect.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, sure did.
Did not know
yeah,
that.
I was
what?
always so frustrated because they always got the best section at Red Lobster, and I'm like, these guys are killing it. Like they're outgoing, they're awesome, and no kidding. I hadn't told you this.
No,
Oh,
never
okay.
heard that one.
Yeah. So I was like, what the heck? Of course, they weren't famous then, you
Yeah.
know, but they were
Yeah.
recording stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they were just getting started.
Yep. But my
Wow.
roommate, who's my best man in our wedding, Josh Schumann, said, dude, you need a consistent job. We were roommates, and my rent was my share of the
Dude,
rent.
get a job.
Yeah, like it just my rent was so inconsistent, or my money was so inconsistent coming in that sometimes I wouldn't have money to pitch in for groceries or cable or the phone bill, whatever. So I went to work at Gold's Gym, and I made, I guess it was like $6 an hour, but it was less money than I made overall each month, but it was consistent. And then I became the maintenance manager for 3 locations. It was called Texas Area 1, Waco, Bryan, and College Station. And so I had a truck allowance and cell phone allowance and things like that. And so life was better. And then
Yeah, you got to work out too.
Number 10.
yeah, I did. Yeah, it was awesome. Oh my gosh. So at the same time that I worked at Gold's Gym, which was 5 years, there was an overlap of time where my life changed dramatically because first time I'm ever saying it live on the Rome Boys set, all I ever wanted was a family, and didn't know my dad at this time. And I was getting close to when I met my dad, but I hadn't met my dad yet. My mom wasn't sure who he might be, unfortunately for her. And, for me, of course, and for my dad. But I met a girl and wanted to marry her. And we conceived a child outside of wedlock. That was my design, obviously, right? All I ever wanted was a family, to be a dad, to really, truly, that's a control issue, quite frankly, is what I've reconciled it to be. I wanted to do it my
you
way.
had no control.
I had no control.
Life.
Yeah, my whole life. I didn't know where my meal was coming from until I had a job.
Yeah.
And so
All you wanted was a family, and your family really wasn't
yeah.
kind of not
Stability.
really
It was-
existent.
Yeah, I lived with my aunt and uncle. It was a tough time for them. I mean, gosh, they filed bankruptcy personally, and they did everything they could. I mean, to make ends meet, and they have 2 other daughters who are like my sisters. They're my first cousins, but and so I was so grateful that at a young age they took me in, right? But
Sure.
but I I ended up with that happening. I knew I needed to step up my responsibility. I needed to be a provider. Gold's Gym wasn't going to be enough, so I started working. I started working at UPS also. Started in July of 2004, and in October 2024, or October 24th, 2004, my son Kyler was born. And so I've always said, guys, we have 6 daughters, but really, Melissa and I happily have 7 children. And I'll just make the plug right now to say we're talking about my jobs.
Get to the good
but
stuff.
Yeah, I'll go back to it. I worked at UPS, right, in Gold's Gym. UPS 5 years, Gold's Gym 5 years. And but I feel like I'm not going to do the story justice because of how I'm inserting it here. But it's a week ago, yesterday. I was reunited with Kyler
Yes, it was. Jesus says.
for the first time in 15, 16 years.
Ay,
Wow.
Yeah. And the girls couldn't
Praise
be
be
more
Jesus.
excited. Amen. Amen. He's perfect. Like he's just such an amazing young man. 20 years old, 1 year in the Air Force, and he's got 3 more years to go. He's in Tucson. And I'm so proud of him for making that decision to go in the military. He made the same decision to go in the military as I did, but I backed out the night before or the morning of at 4:30 a.m. So when I say I'm proud of you, son, for making that decision,
Yeah. Thank you for your service, Kyler.
yeah, amen. So he works on airplanes, and it's a job, but you know he's proud that he was able to make that decision because he wanted to do something for himself, and it was difficult for him just like it was for me to and why I made the decision not to stay in, to submit to authority. That's why I always say in my conversion story, like for me to become Catholic, I don't know
That was a
if
huge
people
step.
realize. Yeah, like I'm a small government guy. I'm a anti-institution guy. I don't trust other people because I didn't have the institution of marriage and family to know how to respect it and how to appreciate it. Now, I saw other families that had a mom and a dad, and Kyler and I, last weekend got to have the conversation about, did you ever see families where you go to your friend's house and they have both parents and have everything, and yet they were squandering it? Like they didn't appreciate it. And he's like, oh, I got stories for you, one after another.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, me too. So anyways, that's the mic drop opportunity there to say like 7 beautiful children, and the girls have always known about him. It's a question that he asked. Joan is who he reached out to, and I'm so grateful for that. And I told her, you're made for such a time as this, Joan. And
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
but,
go.
how did he find Joan? I mean, I know
About
it's
a-
through social media, but
about a year and a half ago, she asked, because she's not active on social media, but she asked if she could reach out to him and send him a Facebook message or an Instagram message,
So
whatever
obviously
platform.
she'd looked him up.
Yep. Because she's always known about him.
Sure.
And he,
and so have you. You've looked them
yeah,
up. You've
yeah.
tried to find
Sent him
them.
messages
Yeah.
throughout the years and such. And I mean, no harm, no foul. It just, we never connected. It just
Sure.
never
Yeah, yeah,
worked
yeah.
out.
Paths never crossed. It wasn't
Yeah.
God's timing.
Yeah, amen. And so, so they were, I think they were friends at one point. Then they weren't friends on Facebook for whatever reason. And he reached out and said, you must be the second oldest. That told me so much when I heard that, because that meant
Yeah.
like, oh, you're claiming it. You are the
Yeah.
first. You are in the family. You are my son. Yeah. So that was the best time ever, just
Yeah.
like my life couldn't continue to feel more complete, as you age too, and you move in through your career, you have your family, you see your children growing up and they have snap. My dad always says, they've got a mind and they're strong and a good foundation. As you age, it's said, and I've studied psychology of the elderly because of my profession, the happiest time of your life is between age 55 and 75. So that we've got the happiest years ahead of us, the happiest 20-year segment of our life, 20% of it, it's in front of us.
Nice.
And it's in front of pretty much all of us, unless you're in that age range, and then you're good to
Yeah.
go. If you're past it, you're just lucky to be alive and you're happy and you're excited. And so, or you're like, okay, I'm done. Take me, Lord.
Get
Right?
me outta here.
Contentment though,
I'm
right?
tired. Yeah.
So all of these careers, I would say, I've always been able to understand people because I've been through a lot. And so I think that's what helped propel me through some of these careers. At UPS, I worked from, I lost 38 pounds in 3 months. Started in July. I was the only guy unloading trucks that came in with all the pickups from the day, from the businesses and, residents all over the community of Bryan College Station and the greater area. And I threw up and passed out from heat exhaustion. And when I got moved up from unload sort at night, I got moved to small sort, which is all small packages instead of big, huge ones, and just like throwing them in bins. Oh my gosh, I felt like I just hit the lottery. And I got paid $1 more because it's a skilled job. And they put 3 guys on the belt to unload. I was
Oh,
like,
dude.
one of me and 3 of those guys. It kind of felt like a, you know, like you felt good.
Superman.
Yeah. So, but I met
Losers.
Melissa. Yeah, I met Melissa, and well, I went into management. Then I also drove for UPS, and it was nice. I mean, kind of had the golden handcuffs. But I met Melissa somewhere along there, my wife, and realized that I needed to be with my family as I was learning the Catholic faith. You pray together, you stay together, right? But you eat dinner at the table, you practice NFP, those 3 tenets that ensure that marriage is 98% successful, the church, has the record of. And so at UPS, I wasn't going to be able to do that because I could see all the guys around me and gals, and it wasn't possible for them. They were working, especially during peak season, which is the holidays, which is the worst time to be away from your family. So I went back to school, and then we moved after Melissa graduated from dental hygiene school. She got a job as a dental hygienist in Houston. I continued studies at U of H, University of Houston, became a nursing home administrator because my friend Adam, I call him my
And
Genesis.
what year was that? Because you've been doing this world since this.
So we got married in June of 2008, and that's right when I moved right into the program.
So that whole time, since then.
Since 08. And here we are, 2025, so 17 years. Yeah. So 17 years in a career that I wanted to go into because I wanted to, if this is what I was going to do for the rest of my life, I wanted to contribute to the world in a good way. I mean, like you're a farmer, you taught theology. These are things where you're giving back to people. It's of service. You're feeding, you're clothing people. Yeah. Well, I mean, the cotton seed and the oil and everything that comes from that. It's in everything.
Sure.
And people love the brown Santa Claus. I'm talking about UPS drivers, especially when we wear those shorts. But those are
so that's how you got Melissa, those UPS shorts.
Yeah, it's funny because that's what other people would say.
Right.
Talk about being embarrassed, but
so you've been an administrator how many times? So you went to a lot of different nursing homes and moved.
Gosh, we moved 15 times in our 16 years of marriage. Yeah. Imagine that, and Melissa has the blood type diet book, and I'm B positive. And the first thing it said, and this is what I always told my mom, because Melissa asked me how many times I've moved, and I'm not kidding. We stopped counting at 30. And and Jesus didn't even have one in.
There you go.
So I'm blessed, but where was I at? Yeah.
Nursing homes and going.
I think I've moved twice.
moving
all over Texas.
Right.
All over Texas. And
Twice, maybe 3 times I've moved. That's it.
Yeah.
Now a word from our sponsors. Wait, we don't have any sponsors.
No, we don't.
It's where
We are the sponsors.
crickets.
So we just wanted to let you guys know, if you wanted to help out our ministry, please especially on YouTube, subscribe, and please share with your friends.
Yeah, and 100% of all donations goes to the work of evangelization.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay.
So we moved. It's not that I changed jobs always, too. I worked for the same company for 5 years and went where they needed help. And so we moved all over the state, which for some people that would be all over the country because Texas is huge. North Texas and the Panhandle, South and West and East and all over.
Shout out
Central.
to Canyon. You really liked Canyon.
Canyon
I mean, you liked
was
them all,
great.
but you know, special
Canyon
place.
was awesome. We bought our first home there, and that was my first nursing home that I was the administrator and hung my license on the wall. But I say Adam was my genesis because Adam Ott was my best friend in 3rd grade, and his mom she took me to church, to a Baptist church, and really said that's who Jesus is, and so it was Adam that I sat in his backyard until the sun came up, literally, when I was working at UPS and needed a change of career. He's a nursing home administrator. His mom was a director of nurses. She picked us up from school when we were kids, and we'd run around the nursing home, and my step-grandfather died in that same nursing home. Eventually, I became an administrator because Adam tried to talk me out of it and said, well, when the sun came up, he said, well, I guess you think you're cut out for it, so might as well give it a try. So Adam is still an administrator at the same place, too. I mean, he's just such a great guy and leader and father. Yeah.
And you started Cross about the same time Rome Boy started. 5 years ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. March, April, really, it started 2019 in December, I think is when we registered the business. And then got our first nursing home April 1st. When COVID hit, it was supposed to happen January 1, then February, then March, and then April.
I remember that because we were on the Acts retreat and you come up.
Oh, that's
just
a story.
Got off the phone. We hadn't started the retreat yet. We were waiting on it because you were on team. And you just got off the phone with, I guess it was the banker or a lawyer or something, saying we just closed, I think.
So
it was like, oh yeah, the look on your face it was like excitement and fear.
All at once.
There was so many emotions going through your head at that point. It was like, holy.
To go from employee to entrepreneur, I asked my boss, how'd you get to where you are? And he said, I stumbled into a Bible study on Sunday, and the reading was from Joshua 10, where he said what I got out of it was, what the scripture said is Joshua asked God to set the sun still in the sky. It says that God had never granted something so great. No man had ever asked for something so great, but he did. He granted Joshua this request in his prayer. And Lewis, my boss, said, so I went home and I got down on my knees by my bed and I prayed, Lord, I'm asking for something big. I would like to have my own company. And it was granted to him. I went home that same day. I did the exact same thing. And I get a phone call and the nursing home opportunity came up, our first one, from a guy whose name is Joshua. And he gave us our first opportunity.
There's a kind of confirmation. Okay, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, we were supposed to have financing in that call you're talking about, Joe. When we were going on the Acts retreat, I was going to tell my boss on Monday that I quit. And my boss walks into my office and on like Thursday and says, hey, or Wednesday or Thursday before the retreat started, and saw the form on my desk and said, hey, can I, you mind if I go and sign up? And I'm like, what am I doing? Yes, of course you can go. Yeah. So my boss shows up. And at our Acts retreat, we stay in like a hotel,
retreat center.
It's owned by the church, right? Yeah. But and I walk by the rooms, and my boss's name, they bunk. The retreatants share a room.
Usually bunk up with somebody else.
So my boss's name and my banker's name were staying in the same room, and I thought, oh my gosh! So it was the banker that gave me the letter that Joshua said on Friday. He's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, Chris, but I'm going to give you more time. This is literally his words. This is Joshua, just like the story, right? Yeah. I'm going to give you more time, and I don't know why I'm doing this, and I'll give you till Monday to get the approval letter. And, of course, my banker gave the approval. And so I don't try to make it a stretch, but it's amazing that it was Joshua who gave me more time. So that's entrepreneurism.
And how many nursing homes do you?
Yeah. So we are taking care of right now 13. Yeah. So 9 that we own and 2 in the state of Oklahoma that we currently help with and manage, and 2 counties that we report directly to the board at the county or the judge. So and then we have a wound care company and a few things going on.
Just a few.
A telehealth company that we just launched, and that's blazing already. Life is great. We have about 1,700 employees.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with 2.
Man. It's like kids. Once you have more, it gets easier.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's 1,700 though.
Yeah, right.
What?
We're just so we are blessed beyond measure because we were able to just hire people that we trust and that we know. We hire for one thing, and that's character. Anybody in the company will tell you if you just picked up the phone blindly and called and asked what's one thing we hire for. And so we have a foundation of trust. We could talk about anything, and everybody on the team says, like, this is different than anything else because we're not here for the money. We're here to take care of God's people, and that's each other and the residents who we have the privilege to serve. So it's Cross Healthcare is our company name, and then each nursing home is its own separate entity. But it's been amazing.
Wow. What a ride.
Wow. Yeah.
What a roller coaster.
I always tell everybody we own the company, but we've, I made more as an administrator. Now my taxes say otherwise, but that's not what I take home. We put that right back into the company, and
Sure.
we just want to take care of the people that have built this thing.
So for financial advice, leave your comments in the section below.
Tuesday, I'm fortunate to I was on a flight, and a professor asked me to come speak at Angelo State University.
Really?
To the entrepreneur class, in the business school.
How
so
cool.
I'm excited to share my story with those guys, and just talk about leadership and kind of inspire them to don't be afraid.
I mean, I think Chris is a motivational speaker. I mean, that's just
Thanks.
It could be, yeah. Just telling your story is one thing.
Yeah. Tim Ferriss says something great. He wrote The 4-Hour Workweek and some other New York Times #1 bestsellers. But one of the things that really inspired me, and actually where I got the quote from our video with you, Joe, is two things. That if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you started too late, because most people have paralysis by analysis. They want it to be perfect. Yeah. They don't realize that once they get out there, first of all, nobody cares. You think people care about what you look like and how you sound and what you say, and nobody cares yet.
Right.
And then you can go back and laugh like we do at our first episodes.
Oh, God.
Oh, my.
You said there was something else, and it'll come to me, but
always you're made for greatness.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's there's when I talk with the team, the one thing that drains me more than anything, and I say this because as a child I saw this in my mother. I always wanted more for her than she ever wanted for herself, and that's tough as a young boy, a young son. Because just making the wrong choices, make different choices, make better choices. You don't have to be with this person. They beat you, they do drugs. They, it's not a good environment. You're beautiful. You've got your whole life ahead of you. What are you doing? So it's, you can't push a rope. So with people around me, when I see them at work or in life, I'm like, man, your self-talk is wrong. You're built for greatness. If I know that you're great. That's it. Yeah. I know you're great. You know why? Because Jesus thinks you're great. He didn't mess up.
No, he doesn't make up. He mess up. He doesn't make trash. He doesn't make No.
So anyways, so I guess the challenge is as an entrepreneur with that big of a team is I fear I don't want people to think, oh, the company's different, because it's not what it was in its infancy as we were growing. And so my response is, oh no, we told you from the beginning, as we grow, you have to grow. And so if you like my leadership, or Derek, my business partner's leadership, if you like the leaders of those that you report to, it's your job now to replicate it. You have to pass on what you've been given. And not everybody is up for the task.
Sure.
And that's what we're called to do as Christ's followers, right? The apostles, because we're in an apostolic mission moment right now, in the world's history. So
I had a question. Was there any, when we decided to do this Rome Boys thing, was there any hesitation on your part?
Yeah, I thought that I wasn't going to have time.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I would tell you what I think I probably said it out loud to you, and this might sound like I was bad before, which is possible, very, very possible, but I'm now. Well, let me tell you why. I felt internally embarrassed because I have a family to represent in all that I do, right? And I'm Catholic, so I represent that in all that I do. But getting behind a camera and a microphone, I now represent you two as well. And I'm telling you, I think I've said it out loud to you, like, this is just as big of a responsibility than anything to me. So I don't want to mess that up.
Once it's on the
you
internet,
don't deserve.
It's always
Sure.
So if I'm more hesitant about anything, honest to goodness, anything that I do, like if I have a glass of wine at dinner and I drive home and I get in trouble, that's on you guys too, because you're tied to me forever now.
Well, I don't know. I bail you out.
Absolutely. Yep. So, so hesitation of, this is not just having fun doing a show.
Sure.
Oh
no, it's a
responsibility.
Yeah, it really is.
Well,
and
we're also representing our diocese, our parishes.
Yep.
Well, man, now we're thinking about it. Oh,
just don't think about it.
Yeah.
just all of a sudden got heavy. No.
Yeah, you get into it too. It's like, well, what if I want to quit?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
True.
not just,
that's the question that's been
yeah.
brought up once more.
Absolutely.
I or God, right? Because if you do
Yeah.
what you want to do,
Mhm.
maybe a different answer than what God wants.
I mean, and from the beginning, it's good to have those discernments, those
Yeah.
moments to think like, all right, this is what I'm getting myself into.
What is best for Rome Boys? What is
Yeah.
best for Cross? What is best for,
That's
Yeah.
one of the things they talked about at Acts 29 was that is like, okay, we got to get out of that mindset of this is what we want.
Yeah.
No. This is what does he want?
Yeah.
And not what we want. What does he want?
And I'll say it's so cliche, but if I didn't have a wife who really truly would sacrifice and support, then it would be an easy no.
Oh yeah.
It would be an easy no because I can't neglect that.
Sure. Our first responsibility is at home.
Yeah.
Our wife and our kids. And so
I mean, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Where are most people at? What do they look forward to? Their
with their
work week,
families.
and here we are sitting behind the set.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for their support, we couldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
So it's the three of us behind the camera, but there's six of us that are Rome Boys.
People praying.
And
Yeah.
they're not boys, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and all our prayer warriors that we
Yeah.
have for us.
Those people didn't pray with us, wouldn't be going.
Well, and like you said, we have a responsibility to them as well. Not only just our viewers, but to the ones who are praying for us. Like, we screw this up.
Right.
Supporting and donating and encouraging. And
then I get a message from my mom.
Yeah, I wanted to ask your mom and dad.
How do I get baptized? I've been listening to Rome Boys. And we always made the joke that our moms were watching. I never thought my mom would watch.
Yeah.
Nothing against your mom.
No, it's just we never.
You're not Catholic,
Right.
Right.
Who
and
watches this?
hope you become Catholic. But
why not?
Yeah, I don't think she has any reason not to at this point from the questions she's asked.
And your son
yeah.
watching. And
and my dad sent me some Catholic stuff, and I'm like, what in the world?
now you can't get out of it.
The
Chris.
most anti-institution
Your
guy
whole
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then Kyler says, I've been to Mass 3 times because I've watched, every Rome Boys episode that I could find your face in. And, then I'm like, what did I say?
Right. Going back on what did I say?
Yeah.
Did I say everything right? Probably
message to all you young people out there. I mean, really, you put that stuff on Instagram and Facebook and all these different things.
Yeah.
I guess that's why they like Snapchat because it disappears after whatever.
Oh, there's a time limit on that?
I think so. It did. Yeah. So it deletes their evidence. I've recently heard this, but I heard it because that is the devil's playground.
Sure.
There is no trail. There is no trace.
There's no paper trail.
But where the trace and we have that memory, and those are things, images that you got to pray to delete because you don't have your own delete button there.
So you could say, this is kind of wild. I mean, so Rome Boys has helped bring your family
100%
back home,
back together,
100%
on the same camp. And
sorry, guys, it's not for you.
That's great. Dude.
Well, what I was about to say is, when we first started this thing, we said if we just help one person, if we just help one person, then it was all worth it. Who thought it was going to be you?
Whoa. Talk about that
was deep.
Shirking the pride thing, right? Like I don't have pride. Yeah. Because it's it's harder to receive than it is to give, which is so what a paradox, right? Because there's so much joy in giving, and we're called to give. We're called to be givers, not takers. But I think there's a difference between being a taker and a receiver.
To shift gears, RCIA, you went through
since
RCIA.
I became Catholic.
You converted, became Catholic, and you've been in charge or in charge. Or
sometimes the only guy, the only guy teaching, which is, it's rough. It's not easy because if you don't show up, who are they going to get the faith from?
Exactly.
But I think I would say that is, and I say this every year in OCIA now.
Yeah, that's true.
I call it OSHA because nobody likes OSHA. So it's a dig, but whatever. So I have to do things that put my back against the wall because I know that I procrastinate. And so when I do that, like being on Rome Boys set, I have studied our topics And so naturally, it keeps me in the faith. It keeps me diving in. It keeps me growing. Keeps me learning. So RCIA
I'm
is
just
the
trying
same
to show
way.
up.
Yeah, right.
These guys study.
Yeah, maybe because I have to.
That's
But
good to know the topic. Yeah.
yeah, well, honestly,
helps
our
refresh us.
viewers, I think one thing that is talk about hesitation is we're taking up your time.
Yeah.
And how do we do homage
Which is
and
priceless.
credibility to your exactly. Time is the most valuable thing we have, and you're listening to the Rome Boys. And so if we're not edifying you, then we're not here for God's calling. So we have to come prepared. So yeah.
Yeah, we just show up and go, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that nobody's gonna listen to that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to that.
Yeah.
Nope.
So no. Oh man.
I could
Yeah.
keep going, but
I
you guys
know, I
have
was sitting there
questions.
going, well, I don't know. I haven't been thinking of any questions. 'Cause I was sitting there just like, yeah. I get it.
The joy of fatherhood,
Oh,
six
man.
daughters and son, and
Yeah.
homeschooling, and just you're being able to work from home all these years, the majority of the time, and being around them and seeing them. I mean,
Yeah, when you
what a
say
blessing.
fatherhood, the first thing I hear is the moment in my conversion and in my testimony of standing in the field at 18 years old at a party that I shouldn't have been at, and it's dark. There's the sky's littered with stars, and I look back, and the porch lights are on. The music is loud. I can hear people laughing and carrying on, drinking and whatever else. And I looked up at the stars, and I said, God, when are you gonna tell me who my father is? And I audibly, internally, heard God in the book of Matthew. It says, the woman at the well perceived God. And so I perceived his voice to say, I am your father, but I will give you the desire of your heart. So that meant a lot to me, it meant a lot, meaning it had more than one meaning, but that, okay, he is my father. Great. I believe that. But he's going to give me the desire of my heart. Does that mean he's going to show me who my dad is? Is he going to show me how to be a father, and I will be one? So 18-year-old, young man, that's a lot to take in. But then, some of you heard my story before. I'll just jump through it real quick. And, married my wife, and but just before that, I think in order for me to be a more complete man, my mom at her 20-year class reunion asked a man who could have possibly been my dad to take a paternity test, and it was positive because we both took one. So I met my dad, Eddie Martin, who I love, and it's amazing because we have the same mannerisms. We say the same thing. It's weird. But I knew where I came from, and he's a smart guy. His dad is very smart, my granddad, and his dad.
I'm just thinking, I think you got a little boldness from your mother, because how bold is it of her to just go to a class reunion and go, I'm gonna go talk to him.
Yeah, tap. Hey, you want to take paternity test?
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah, good credit there, Joe. Thanks.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that takes a lot of courage. And,
Yeah.
to be able to walk up to him and say, I got to ask you a big question.
Yeah, yeah. My stepdad, who died on my dad's birthday, our wedding, June 7th, St. Robert, pray for us. That's his feast day. But my dad's birthday, JR died. My stepdad on that same date. My grandfather I never met died on that day.
Cool.
Anne was born on that day. It's our wedding anniversary, June 7th. Yeah, important day in our family. But
yeah.
So, but JR was with my mom looking at the yearbook and called me and said, hey, this guy, I used to play guitar with him. He looks just like you. And your mom was curious, would you take a paternity test? And what I have to lose? Whatever.
Sure.
I was looking for him, and then I quit, because I had no success. But a year before that, so yes, I met my dad. Amazing. A year before that, as you guys well know, he was in a terrible accident, and I keep the records. He's one of 2 known survivors of decapitation.
That's insane.
You heard that right. So was his skin all severed? I don't think so. I don't know. I need to go back and look at his medical record, but his spine was severed from his skull. He had, a good artery supplying blood to his brain. He died in the accident, but he was brought back to life. He was the first flight of the Angel flight that was commissioned in Polk County, and had that helicopter not been there, interestingly enough, called the Angel Flight. To take him, to fly him to the trauma center, he would not be alive. And then a year later, I meet him. I've never heard his real voice to this day because the only thing paralyzed on his body is his vocal cords.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, we've had some rough moments where he has a hard time swallowing and things like that. But I mean, he walks and talks and still picks the guitar and I mean, he's played with some of the greats, ZZ Top and such, and his grandfather invented the coaxial cable and cable television, and so I was like, oh, entrepreneur, inventor, all of meeting
in the genes.
Meeting them really did give me what I needed, the confidence I needed.
Yes.
When Kyler met me, the same thing, and his story is very, very similar to my own. Even living with friends in high school, just like I did, his mom has had a tough time, and so we pray for her, and so cool. Okay, moving on. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
It's getting dusty in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of dust in this room. So where were we at? Talking about fatherhood. So I told the story, meeting him for the first time, Kyler, that is, in the month of St. Joseph at a St. Joseph themed men's retreat 2 weekends ago, right? And so that was the first time getting reconnected with him. So I got to stand on that stage and tell that story for the first time. And I said, guys, I'll never tell the story like this ever again.
Yeah.
So
every time is different.
So fatherhood has been amazing. I'm not going to admit or think that I'm the greatest father, but when my children say, you're the best dad in the world, it's, that hits hard.
Because for me personally, when they do that, I just think of all the things I could do better.
Yeah, right. Same.
Or the faults that I have. But in their eyes, a lot of times I tell the girls, they're not allowed to date until they're 18.
Yeah.
And one of the requirements is that you have to pick a guy who's better than me. And they think that I'm setting the bar way too high.
Yeah.
And they don't know how low it actually is. But it's that recognition of, you're the greatest dad. And it's like, no, I could be so much better.
Yeah.
But just to have that perspective of theirs.
Speaking to the point of fatherhood, when I was coming into the church at St. Thomas Aquinas in College Station, 2008, Easter. Right before I got married. I gave a talk, and I put a priest up on the big screen, and there was a bunch of very awesome youth in that room in the high school program, many of them that are now priests that have gone on to do amazing things. One of the gentlemen came here for our Advent mission, and I rode back home with him here because he stayed at our house, and he said, Chris, you gave a talk. It had been a decade since we've seen each other. Wow. And he said, you gave a talk. No. This goes back even further, I think, maybe 15 years. And he said, you gave a talk to us in high school. And I was like, oh, yeah? And he said, yeah, you put a picture of a priest up there and said, I could never be one. And we were all like, what? And that's when you told us that you had a son. And I said, yeah, because of that, at that time I was definitely under the understanding that because of that, I was excluded from the priesthood. And he said,
even then you were bold and real.
Yeah. I was, the truth is what it is, And he said, that's why I discerned the priesthood. And he's married and has a huge family, a beautiful family. And I mean, he's an excellent musician and a wonderful man, contributing to the church. I mean, that's his job. That's what he does. But he told that story and I'm like, wow, it's really, fatherhood it's an interesting thing. I was looking at the priesthood. I was getting married, I was getting, all this was just like Niagara Falls. Yeah. Like, what do I do?
Catholic faith.
What do I do? I need to do what God wants me to do. The train is on the tracks with Melissa. Like, we've got a date set. We're getting married. It's coming up in just a few months. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Yeah. And then I just met my dad. So talk about just an overwhelming rush of fatherhood. And where do I fit into all of this?
Is the train going to stay on the tracks, or is it going to be a train wreck?
Yeah, right. And am I going to do this right? Because I didn't have a good example, the best, not, a Catholic example. So anyways, yeah. So now I say I've, got Kyler, oldest, 20 years old. So 7 children and 6 daughters. But as a nursing home administrator, what I've always said is I've got the best insurance plan, because in the nursing home, it's always the daughter-in-law, the daughter, the granddaughter, the wife, the mom.
Yeah.
Always the one supporting. So I've got the best insurance policy in the world.
Yeah, one for every day of the week.
Yeah. Yep. Y'all can rest on Sunday. But so
That's awesome.
fatherhood is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. What else would you do?
Glad to feel like contribute. And my dad, he's there for me. And and that's all I ever needed. I'm his only son. And I have an only son, right? And so, yeah, it's like, okay, Lord, I know what it's like to have your son, stripped from your grip.
Yes.
So reading Matthew Kelly's Rediscovered Catholicism prologue, when he talks about the mystery flu, and at the very end of that story, he says, "This is my only son."
Sacrificing
Yeah.
your son.
Yeah. And yet some people show up pretentious or with a smirk on their face, or mass is boring, or, do you realize
You
I
don't
gave
know.
up my only son for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
Father-
why we're here.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
trying to change all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good example for men, to just, I really appreciate what Scott Hahn said to us on the set, to have 3 Catholic apostolic laymen. Those were his words, I was like,
Yeah.
you're talking about us, right?
Yeah.
But just to be an example. And if anybody is a fan or thinks we're celebrities, if it's our children,
Yeah.
then we're not. But
Yeah.
Right.
but then hey, mission accomplished.
Live in the faith.
Yeah.
That's what the call is.
Yeah.
the call.
And with social media and YouTube and all these platforms, you have all these influencers out there. I think part of our hidden hope was that, hey, if they can see that we can do it,
Yeah.
and
Anybody
we don't
can.
think so highly of ourselves, right? But maybe
Nope.
they do. But
Bring joy and
yeah,
bring the truth, the fullness.
absolutely. Flood the airwaves with the truth and joy.
Amen.
Yeah, you said
Enjoy.
it.
So thank you for putting your trust in us, so that we can get this message out there, and we hope that and pray that what we say and do helps you in your journey,
Yeah, absolutely.
because it's not about us; it's about Him.
Yep. Amen.
No doubt. You're not gonna ask me like what my favorite color is. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. That's what my kids. What's your favorite color?
What's your favorite animal? The unicorn.
Yeah.
Things he won't say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not gonna go
Maybe
there.
his daughters, but
Yeah.
Yeah, favorite thing,
Yeah.
the color.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
No, that's all right.
It is purple because we are in the season of Lent.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Go.
Violet. if you
Liturgical
will.
season,
go.
liturgical colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chris, that was awesome.
thank you, Chris.
As always.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's always different. It's always
Yeah, it's
fruitful.
always great.
So-
I think I got all the jobs in there, but it seems like there were more. But
yeah, what was the
I
count?
mean, I don't
11?
know. Well, I lost
12?
track of about 11 or 12
Yeah.
because I don't know how many different nursing homes.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Does that count?
You at least got to 20 something.
Well,
Don't you- wouldn't you
I
say?
mentioned I worked at the mall, and not that this
Yeah.
is important, but it seems like there was more for sure.
Part 2 with Chris.
Yeah.
Another time.
Yeah.
Buckle, not Victoria's Secret.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah.
thank y'all for joining us. And in the meantime,
Be bold.
be real.
Be Catholic.
God
bless.
bless.